Branching scenarios are a way of placing your learner into the role of a decision maker and let them see how those decisions play out. But how do you do that in Evolve? So we've got a branching scenario here. We can start off and we can make some choices and we can get to a conclusion. We can try it, and obviously there's lots and lots and lots of different options within Evolve to allow me to set up my branching scenario, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a series of videos. This is part one. But another great thing about creating these in Evolve is that they can be responsive and can be used across any device, be it mobile, tablet, whatever you want, and it still looks great. So let's see how we do that. Okay, let's get going. I have created a new project. I call it Branching Scenarios V2 because I already have another project called Branching Scenarios. I've put in a page number, which you can see here. Makes life a little easier when I'm trying to find things later on if I'm creating logic and triggers, especially if I've got lots and lots of pages. And I tend to do that with articles 1.1, 1.2, and then blocks and components 1.1a, 1.1b, etc. You know, have to do that, I guess, but it makes life a whole lot easier later on if you've got loads of components and pages and blocks to find those when you're creating logic and triggers. So you can make up your own naming convention, doesn't really matter. The theme for this one I have called Branching Scenario Arc. I'm not going to go into theming today because this video will become very, very long. So, but if you want to kind of recreate the look of what that got, then I'll export this theme and add it into the comments, so you'll be able to upload it to your own instance of Evolve. If you need help with that, just drop me a question about it. So I'm going to add a little intro to my branching scenario that isn't a branching component. Just for visual design, really, I like to add a little bit of an intro because the visual design of the branching scenario itself, I don't think looks as nice, and you'll see what I mean about that in just a second. So you had visual design advantages, and there's maybe some disadvantages, which I'll talk about later on, but you can kind of design your branching scenario so you don't have to worry about those. So I've got two blocks, and I'm just going to name these. I'm just going to speed it up. Okay, so yeah, I've just added in some naming conventions here to make it a bit easier to find later on. I'm going to go into the component itself, and I'm going to give it a title. I'm just going to drop some lorem ipsum into the body here. You can do that by clicking this little plus icon, just to make it easy and quick for this video. So what does that look like? I can't see it yet. So I can open up my live preview, and I can see what I've got. So I've got my title, branching scenario. I'm just going to turn those those comments off to make it easier to see. So I've got my title, and I've got my lorem ipsum, and I've got my action button, which I added here. I'm going to change the button text to say let's go to get the scenario started, and I am going to go to appearance and change the button alignment to center to bring it into the center here. I'm going to put a graphic here. I've already got some graphics ready to go. Any graphics I use today I got from FreePic, and I'll put the links to those in there should you wish to use them. Some of them are premium ones, so you might want to find some free ones to make your own version. I'm also, for this one, I put in a background image, a 3D one that I found again from FreePic. I'm going to put that to the top cover, and I want to fix it because I want it to stay in place while things move down. And you can see that kind of gives a nice feel to the page there. So obviously I've set up the theme to have a nice hover, and it doesn't do anything yet. So I'm going to add in another article, and I'm going to add a branching scenario to that, and I'm going to name this. I'll speed it up. Okay, so I've named that all of those things. You can see I've got another article in here, and I am going to add my first item. before I do that, there are lots of things you can do in behavior and assessment and appearance. I'm going to get to those in a future video, because otherwise it'll be a very long video if I did that. I'm just going to go into items and open that up, and you can see here I have my first item, and that showed up there, branching item start text. So I could have put my intro in here, like so, and I could have added my opening branch to that, put it to the right, and then add an option like that to say let's go. But if I do that, I don't like this kind of button here thing, that this radio button, so I like that a little bit better. So I'm not going to do that. So I did what I showed you guys before. I'm going to take leave that lorem ipsum in there. I'm going to remove that asset, and I'm going to make this, what should this person do? And I'm going to pop a different one in there that I have. I've got that to the right, and I have my information about the beginning of the branching scenario, what was happening, and what should this person do. I don't know what to say let's go. I want that to be maybe 3 options. You can have more than that if you want. I'm going to add in another option. And let's say the first option was excellent choice. Now you can see there's scores and things like that. I'm not going to get into that with this one. I'll get that into that with a future video. I'm going to call it good choice and bad choice. So for this video, I'm just going to show you how to set up a really simple branching scenario that doesn't really do much other than take people through a couple of different levels, and it tells them they either did a good job or a bad job or an excellent job. So I have that there, and we can see that it gives us the 3 choices. But if I click on them, nothing happens because it doesn't go anywhere. Now you can add another item if you wish. I want most of these preceding branches below it to be very similar to this, so I'm just going to duplicate that one. I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to remove that asset. I'm going to put in branch 2, and then I'm going to duplicate that, put that there, duplicate that, put that there. Okay, but if I click on that, still nothing happens because I haven't connected them. So let's say if I made a connect option here, I made an excellent choice, click on that, I'm going to come to that one, click on that, I'm going to come to that one, click on that, I'm going to come to that one. Now if you want, you can also do things like change the color of this, because that was your excellent choice, that's green, so it helps you visually see when you're building what to do. Because this is going to be a really simple one, what I might want to do with a really bad choice is I'm going to delete 2 of these options and maybe make that choice try again, and obviously the description here would say, you should try again, and maybe this text here would say why they made such a bad choice and that they need to try again. So that would then to connect back to that one, so it would go all the way back, and they'd have to start again. And I guess another advantage of having this thing is that they don't need to read that intro every time they have to go back to the beginning. They would kind of start from the actual story itself, the scenario itself. So you could do that, and obviously because we're keeping this nice and simple, maybe I would add another item here, and let's say you make another excellent choice, that's good, you come here, then that could be well done, whatever you want. And if I don't put any choices there, then that completes this component because I'm at the end, and I could do the same here. That good job, so it's not as good, and then go from there. You might want to have less choices here, because if you take that choice, what happens? You would then have to make another branching scenario below that and below that and below that. But just to keep this nice and simple, give you an idea how to do it, that is kind of where you would go. So if I go from excellent choice to there, you can see I've got this different here, and if I go to excellent choice again, it says well done, and I'll come to the end of that scenario. I've got here good choice and then excellent choice, so if I let's refresh that, I choose good choice, takes me to this second one, and if I click excellent choice, it takes me to good job, and that would end it. Obviously, again, if you've got more choices, then you might want to make more branches, but just for quickness and easiness to how you would set it up, I'm going to do that. Now, if I do it again, I'm going to refresh that page, and I make the bad choice, it's like, you should try again. And then I go back to the beginning, because it's bringing that back to the beginning. So that would be how you would set up a really simple branching scenario. You could have as many branches as you want. You could, of course, have more different branches here. I could have got rid of a couple of these choices to make it simpler here. Maybe if I made a bad choice, I could then connect it back up to the beginning again to start that way. And that could be a very, very simple way of creating a 2 or 3 level branching scenario that doesn't then branch off again. But if you want to do a bit more complex scenarios, then I'll show you how to do that in my next video. But the other thing I'm going to show on here is how do I get that little button to reveal the branching scenario. So I'm going to hide that with this little eye here, and you can see it's no longer there, but that's obviously I haven't set up any logic for that, so nothing happens. So I'm going to go to my logic here. I'm going to go to my triggers. I like to call my triggers, name those as well to make it nice and easier. So let's say branch reveal. So we have an event. I want the action button clicked, and I want the action button to be 1.1b branching action. And you can see here the advantage of naming things because you can find it really easily. Obviously, it doesn't really matter for this one because I've got too many things, but that would, of course, make sense. So show hidden articles, and article is 1.2 branching interaction, but I also want it to hide the article with the button in it, branching intro, like that. If I go to here, I click on let's go, hides that, and it brings in the start of my branching interaction. So that would be another way for you to kick that off and get it started, to set up that little bit of logic. But yeah, if you want to get a lot deeper into branching scenarios, obviously there is lots and lots of things you can do in behavior. We can set up an assessment, so on your LMS it will record the assessment and record the score. We can also use the score within the items here to make far more complex branching scenarios, and I'll show you how to do that next. So join me for that.